is the new Aprilia Tuono 457, the naked street bike version of the RS 457, which won the Indian Motorcycle of the Year 2025 award. But is it as good as the RS 457 in terms of overall riding experience? That's what we are trying to find out in about 2 hours of riding time with the Tuono in the beautiful Nandi Hills of Bengaluru. Let's see how it goes. Let me quickly take you through the changes over the RS 457. Now, as you can see, the styling is different. This is a street naked motorcycle, so it has been stripped off the fairing and you get a very minimalistic design, which is not like any other Tuono. It is unique, but in my opinion, it is quite likable. Looks better than the pictures in flesh actually. And but despite Aprilia stripping it off the fairing, the curb weight has remained the same as the RS 457, which is 175 kg. The fuel tank capacity of the RS 457 is 13 liters, but this one stands at 12.7 liters. Now, as for the engine, it's the same 457cc twin-cylinder engine, which makes about 47 bhp and 43.5 Newton meters. But Aprilia has changed the gearing of the motorcycle. They have made it shorter, and most of the torque is available right from 3000 RPM, which means in ghats or in city, this should feel peppier or punchier than the RS 457 in theory. Besides that, as is clear, that clip-on handlebars have been replaced by a single-piece tubular handlebar, which is more accessible, feels more comfortable for your upper body, but the foot peg position is the same as the RS 457, which means your angle of knee is quite acute, it's quite aggressive. The rest of the hardware more or less is the same as the RS 457. You get USD forks, monoshock with preload adjustability at both ends, a single disc brake at both ends with dual channel ABS. You get 17-inch wheels with Eurogrip Pro Torque Extreme tires, which in our opinion are brilliant. Even in my riding stint up till now, they have proved to be great in terms of grip and feedback. Now, what do you think of the styling of the Tuono? Let me know in the comment section. As I hopped on the Tuono and got going, what impressed me instantly was the tractability this engine offers. It can do 40 kmph in 6th gear without throwing any tantrums and pulls cleanly without you having to downshift. This is commendable for an engine that is focused at delivering thrilling performance. Making it further accessible and friendly is the super light clutch and the gearbox, which is not really slick but offers a bit of a mechanical clunk, which is satisfying. But this Italian twin truly comes into its element when you start getting generous with the throttle. There's a strong punch right from 3000 RPM and it revs to the red line too quickly for its displacement. You would constantly want to give it a handful of throttle, charging up a straight and advance through the gears vigorously, as all of it feels profoundly engaging. The engine sounds a bit gruff in the lower revs and lets out a loud and pacey growl after 4000 RPM, which makes the overall experience further entertaining. I couldn't stop grinning every time I had the opportunity to go gung-ho on free sections of the road. Then came the corners of Nandi Hills and I was further blown away by how willingly the Tuono drops into corners and holds your desired line without a hint of reluctance or twitchiness. And it is not just the agility which is smile-inducing, but also the bike's tendency to forgive your mistakes and retain its composure. Be it long sweepers or tight hairpins, the Tuono feels equally predictable. Adding further confidence to push around corners are the brakes. While the bite from the front caliper isn't incredibly strong, there is enough stopping power to brake hard and late into corners without much hesitation. However, the front brake lever could do with more feel. While the route charted for us was mostly smooth and well paved, some of the small sections had broken tarmac where the suspension setup felt absorbent. While the setup is far from being plush and has a hint of firmness, it feels settled with minimal movement or kickback. We are glad that Aprilia has incorporated preload adjustment at both ends, as that should give riders some liberty to set the bike up as per their weight. The seat height of Tuono 457 is quite accessible at 800 mm. I'm 5 feet 11 inches. Even if you're shorter than me, it should be equally accessible. As you can see, I can comfortably flat foot. Now, the clip-on handlebar has been replaced with a single-piece tubular handlebar, which is quite wide and it's within your easy reach. You just need to bend down a little bit which adds to the sportiness of the overall riding position. But here's something you need to note if you are planning to buy this motorcycle maybe in the future, is that the foot peg position is the same as the RS457, which means your knees will be bent quite acutely, and this is quite an aggressive stance or an angle, which means if you are striving for a comfortable motorcycle, a comfortable naked street bike, this might not cut it. But if you are wanting a street naked practical motorcycle, but something that is involving and sporty in terms of riding position, then that way this is brilliant, because this riding position is great. It suits if you are planning to do a lot of ghat rides or even track days, because this riding position is quite involving and cornering would be a lot of fun. When I had first laid my eyes on the pictures of the Tuono 457 from the EICMA, it looked a bit underwhelming. However, I'm glad to report that it's a handsome looking bike in flesh with good proportions for its class. While the headlamp doesn't retain the design cues of its bigger Tuono siblings, it looks radical and eye-catching and blends well with the overall stance. Now, design might be a subjective topic, but everyone getting up close to the bike will unanimously accept that the quality levels are top-notch and there isn't any room to complain. The Tuono retains all the features from the RS, and that means it's a technologically loaded offering. The 5-inch TFT displays a host of information in a clean and legible format, and navigating your way through different screens with the help of the left side buttons is easy. It gets Bluetooth connectivity for giving access to turn-by-turn navigation, music controls, and message and call alerts. Furthermore, there are 3 ride modes which alter the way the power is delivered and tweak the ABS and traction control intervention. However, you can select your choice of TC setting separately as well. So I just got done with a brief stint with the Tuono 457, and I'm just gonna be very candid over here. I'm completely mind blown. So when I started riding this motorcycle, initially I thought that the riding position for my height was a little too cramped, because the foot peg position is the same as the RS457, and initially I was feeling that this is just too aggressive. And but once I kept on riding the motorcycle, and after about 2 hours of riding, I can tell you that after a point you just get along with the motorcycle. The overall seating ergos start feeling comfortable, and everything falls into place really well. So this wider handlebar gives you a lot of great leverage, and while being comfortable, the overall riding position is also very involving and sporty. But apart from that, what's been the highlight for me is how the engine and the overall hardware package and the chassis come together to give you a riding experience which is extremely engaging. The engine, the bassy exhaust note, the way it delivers torque, the strong mid-range. If you are running a gear or two higher around corners and you just give it gas, it pulls really cleanly. And the chassis and the suspension setup and these tires, the grip and feedback that they deliver, even if you're doing a couple of mistakes here and there around corners, this bike is very forgiving that way. It feels really composed, really stable around corners, and it's profoundly agile. And also the fit and finish is something I'm really impressed with. The overall build quality, everything shouts Italian, and everything has been put together really well. There is very little that you can actually nitpick on this motorcycle. Again, in terms of features, this is one of the nicest package at this price point. You get TFT screen, multiple ride modes, Bluetooth connectivity. Quick shifter is available as an option, but if you add that on, the overall riding experience will surely be even more entertaining, I would say. So at 3.95 lakh, my first impression is that this is a very appealing, very enticing package. But we are yet to test this motorcycle over a longer period of time, and we really would want to find out how this overall seating position and this seat, which has softer cushioning, fares in the real world over a longer distance. Maybe if you plan to tour on this motorcycle, how that experience will be and how the fuel efficiency will be, although that should be similar to the RS457. But these are the small things which we really need to test out in the real world, maybe over a period of a week, and then we can tell you answers of all of those questions, how this will be to own. But in the first impression, this motorcycle is great and gets a big thumbs up from me.